Tonight, police continue to investigate after a shooting at Lansdowne Park forces the cancellation of an inaugural music festival.
It's really unfortunate that a random act of violence was the reason for it to be canceled.
What we know and how people are reacting is sudden cancellation. A big day for the new kids on the block.
I haven't lived on my own, so this will be the first.
University students flock to campus as they move in and prepare for their first university classes. And you won't find any doctors here.
We are so surprised. It's one of the best crops that we've had in years.
We take a look at apple picking conditions after a dry summer. Good evening and thank you for joining us. It was supposed to be a weekend of music and celebration at a new festival at Lansdowne Park, but YOWFest has been called off after police responded to reports of gunfire in the area on Friday afternoon. CTV's Kimberly Johnson joins us live in studio with the details. Kimberly.
Austin, no one was injured after gunfire rang out yesterday afternoon at around 4:20. But police are still looking for suspects, and organizers of the inaugural YOWFest decided to cancel the entire two-day event as a precaution. Excitement was building for Tyrell London to catch a new music festival this long weekend at Lansdowne.
I like dancehall, reggae music, so the fact that there was something here happening, that seemed pretty big.
But instead of seeing acts take the stage Saturday at YOWFest, the stage is coming down. The decision comes after gunfire rang out in the area late Friday afternoon.
It's really unfortunate that a random act of violence was the reason for it to be canceled.
On Friday, police say they were called to the scene at about 4:20 p.m. No one was injured. Artists were set to take the stage for the two-day festival later that evening, but soon afterwards, the first day was canceled. Later that night, the entire event was called off. In a statement on social media, organizers say it was made over safety concerns. We understand the disappointment this may cause for those who were looking forward to the festival. This decision was made with deep care and consideration. On its website, the festival describes itself as a multicultural music festival with performances in English and French. Performers included former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's son, who goes by Zav, as well as other local Ottawa and Canadian artists.
I think the organizers in the city are ultimately the decision makers.
This former police commissioner says it's a decision that wouldn't have been taken lightly.
If they say, nah, we should be okay, we don't have any further threat, we're not worried about a further threat, and then all hell breaks loose. And so therefore, you make the decision at times out of an abundance of caution.
I do think we do get gunfire in the city, and it's remote. And when you see those circumstances happen and quick response, it gives you more confidence.
In their post, organizers thanked police and security for bringing the situation under control Friday night.
It's unfortunate that something new is ending on the first year, so hopefully it can happen next year.
Organizers say anyone who purchased a ticket online will be refunded. The Ottawa Police declined an interview today, saying this is an active investigation, but confirm no arrests have been made. Austin?
CTV's Kimberly Johnson reporting live for us tonight. Kimberly, thank you very much for this. And you can scan the QR code that's on the bottom of your screen to link to us online or visit ctvnewsottawa.ca. We do have more details on the shooting at Lansdowne Park and the cancellation of YOWFest. Well, it's move-in weekend at Carleton University with thousands of students returning or arriving for the very first time. Parents, boxes, and plenty of excitement filling the campus ahead of a brand new semester. CTV's Josh Morano joins us now with more on how the students are feeling. Josh.
Yeah, Austin, more than 3,000 students are moving in this weekend, and with excitement also comes nerves. But with over 650 staff and volunteers there to help, students I spoke with say the process was easy and they're ready for the school year. Carleton Move-In Weekend is finally here, and it's the start of a new chapter for Ava Barone.
I haven't lived on my own, so this will be the first. I do have a roommate who came with me from the Sioux, so that'll be nice to have people who are close.
She's here with her parents, all the way from Sault Ste. Marie, getting settled in her new dorm.
It was a long way to get here packing. I am a bit nervous, but everyone here is really nice and welcoming, and they really get you settled in.
3,800 new students are arriving over the weekend, with staff and volunteers helping them move into 12 residence buildings.
They had a bunch of helpers too, like a huge crowd of people. Just, I think, like students or staff, they just came and helped bring all my stuff up.
And of course, a busy and emotional day for parents as well.
I just keep saying it over and over. Enjoy the life, enjoy the school. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be amazing at the same time.
I was probably sad in the last 2 weeks, and today super happy, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm going to save on hydro, gas, water, and food, but I'll miss them.
Added this year, the newest residence, Rideau House, a 450-bed building which staff say has helped alleviate some living concerns.
It opened this week, and so we've invited students in there, and it's helping out not only because of the extra beds, but the amenity spaces that will be opening in that building.
Off-campus housing has been a concern for returning students, with many having to move further away because of a lack of available units. But Story says because of the addition of Rideau House, there are some extra spots in residence.
We've been able to accommodate everybody that has asked for a space. People are obviously chomping at the bit to get into Rideau House, so we don't have any spaces left there, but we do have a few spaces left in rooms around campus, so if people are interested, they should reach out.
For Barone, she says she's looking forward to this new adventure and for classes to get started.
I am very excited to be on my own, independent, and really study something I'm interested in.
Story says they've had a successful move-in weekend, welcoming in over 1,000 students over the course of the past 2 days, with the rest moving in tomorrow ahead of classes, which begin next week. Austin.
Yeah, definitely some nerves there on campus. Josh, thanks for this. CTV's Josh Morano reporting live for us tonight. And not too bad weather-wise when it comes to having to move. I mean, we've had so many scorching hot days. That's not fun when you're lifting boxes today. Pretty mild, sitting at 17 degrees right now, just slightly below our seasonal temperatures for this time of year, around 19, 20 degrees. We did reach a daytime high of 19, and you can see that for tonight's low, getting all the way down to 8 degrees here in Ottawa. 4 is the low in Bancroft, 6 in Kittigan-Zibi. So single digits across the board, with the exception of Montreal there at 12 for tonight's low. 7 degrees tonight in Gatineau. Clear conditions, so it'll be a nice one. If you're just outside of the city and looking to stare at some stars, you'll have a good time for it tonight, but again, it will be chilly before we start to warm up again. 26 is the high tomorrow in Ottawa, 26 in Gatineau as well, 25 in Kemptville and in Petawawa. Healthcare workers gathered on Parliament Hill today for a pro-Palestinian vigil. Organizers calling the event Save Gaza's Children, as demonstrators call for a meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney.
We are frustrated. We have done this over and over, and we are asking for the collective healthcare workers everywhere in Canada to move towards holding our government accountable. At this point in time, it's going to take a lot more than another petition, another letter. We need to see real action from our government. We need to see real movement.
Demonstrators say they want the Canadian government to put more pressure on Israel by halting all weapons shipments and imposing sanctions. Today's event was organized by a coalition of healthcare and humanitarian organizations with a focus on the children in Gaza. Shoes, candles, and stuffed animals were placed on the ground next to photos of children at the rally. And the City of Ottawa and the union representing OC Transpo workers have reached a tentative agreement. The Amalgamated Transit Union Local 279 says the negotiating committee reached a deal overnight at the deadline of conciliation. One of the main issues in bargaining had to do with pay disparity between managers and frontline staff. Councillor Glenn Gower, who's also chair of the Transit Committee, said it's encouraging news, especially on Labor Day weekend. That deal has not yet been ratified. A U.S. federal appeals court has ruled that some of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs imposed on Canada and other countries are illegal. The decision applies to Trump's Liberation Day tariffs and levies that he imposed before that on China, Mexico, and Canada. Despite the ruling, the tariffs will remain in place until at least October 14th, giving the administration a chance to appeal to the Supreme Court. Trump responding to the ruling on social media, writing in all caps, "All tariffs are still in effect." He called the appeals court highly partisan, adding, quote, "If these tariffs ever went away, it would be a total disaster for the country. It would make us financially weak, and we have to be strong." Now, the 7-4 ruling by the court found that the use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose tariffs was unlawful and it violated the U.S. Constitution. But while the lawfulness of those tariffs is being challenged, there will still be tariffs impacting the U.S.'s trade relationships with other countries. And Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is calling on the Canadian government to adopt a stand-on-guard law that would allow Canadians to use lethal force against home intruders without potentially facing criminal charges. CTV's Rachel Aiello has the details.
We need to change the law.
If an intruder strikes, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre wants homeowners' use of force, even lethal, to be presumed reasonable.
Simply put, it means you have the right to use force to defend your home and your family against someone who threatens you and who has entered illegally.
Poilievre delving into what constitutes legal self-defense follows headlines about a few controversial cases.
I don't see it as being a real widespread problem.
Last week in Lindsay, Ontario, a man woke up to an alleged armed intruder in his apartment. An altercation ensued and the intruder was airlifted to hospital. Local police charged both men.
Your home is your castle.
Canadians already have the right to defend themselves in a home invasion, but those rights are not unlimited.
I think it's absolutely appropriate to extend the law to allow for more force or more reasonable force to be used in these circumstances.
Unlike U.S. castle laws, Canada's criminal code only allows the use of force when it's deemed reasonable and proportionate. And that determination is up to the judge and jury.
But what's proposed, it really says everything's reasonable. So if I go into someone's house with a squirt gun and they shoot me with a 12-gauge shotgun, does that mean it's reasonable? Because it's presumed to be. So I just don't see that as workable.
Responding to Poilievre's pitch, Justice Minister Sean Fraser accused the Conservative leader of chasing a photo op by attacking police for doing their jobs. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Here in Ottawa, it's apple picking season. It's been a bit of a concern this year when it comes to the crop, considering how hot and dry the summer weather has been. But it does sound like for at least one of the more popular farms in our region, things are looking up. CTV's Camille Wilson joins us live with more on this. Camille.
Austin, I checked out Mountain Orchards today for their opening Pick Your Own Apples Day. It was busy with people eager to grab some apples as we inch closer to fall. And despite the summer weather that we've had, this year's crop is looking promising.
Yummy. No better way to celebrate a reunion than to go apple picking for the first time all together.
We actually all went to grad school together, and so this was our little reunion weekend after being apart for about a year. And since then I've had Maverick, and so we thought a fun little activity would be to bring him to the apple orchard for his first time.
Just like it's a big day for Maverick, it's a big day at Mountain Orchard for their opening day of apple picking.
We really enjoy the apples here, and it's a good family outing.
Just so great to see everybody and get together. Yeah. It's really special to find the time where we're all free to do this.
The farm is filled with fun activities for everyone with wagon rides, playgrounds, and corn mazes.
Apples weren't quite ready this year due to the lack of rain, causing picking to be pushed back by a week. They are good now, but needed some extra help.
We have trickle irrigation, so we put it on when the trees needed it. Gets down to the roots, make sure that the trees are a little bit happy. We don't see a lot of troubles with the trees.
Much like other farms, the Mountain Orchard's corn crop faced some challenges this year with the dry weather, but the apples pushed through.
I know a lot of other farms are struggling a little bit because they don't have the irrigation setup that we do, but we are lucky in that aspect. We are so surprised. It's one of the best crops that we've had in years.
Everyone here happy to pick.
He's had a lot of fun. He's been tasting some apples.
There's lots of different varieties of apples that you can pick from. Normally just to eat, or we normally cut them up and we dip them in caramel, and it's really good.
But most importantly, capturing the moments.
Because we don't see each other too often, it's nice to get some photos all together.
The perfect fall activity.
Yeah, it is.
Although farms experienced a slow crop this year, it's looking good for those that want an apple a day to keep the doctor away. Mountain Orchards is free admission and parking and open 7 days a week. Austin.
Okay, Camille, thank you for this. CTV's Camille Wilson reporting live for us tonight. Still ahead, the U.S. is doubling down on a decision to ban the president of the Palestinian Authority from attending the September session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. We'll have those details after the break. Here's a live look now through our sunny Centennial Glass Skycam. It's currently 18 degrees.
CTV Ottawa is your home for local news.
Katie Griffin, CTV News in the Byward Market.
Centertown.
Canada.
Stittsville, bringing you local stories that matter the most to you.
Kimberly Fowler in Westboro.
Orleans. Barhaven.
From every corner of the community.
In the Glebe.
Manotick.
Merrickville.
Brockville. From the team you trust, we are CTV News Ottawa.
Live, local, breaking news. CTV News Ottawa.
An Israeli airstrike has killed the prime minister of the Houthi rebel-controlled government, as well as several key ministers in Yemen. The Houthi Supreme Political Council released a statement today confirming Ahmed al-Rahawi's death on Thursday. The group says it's ready to confront Israel over the killings, and Israel's military officials, say they were targeting the group's chief of staff, defense minister, and other senior officials. Israeli officials struck a compound in Yemen's capital of Sana'a, where senior Houthi figures were gathered. The Iran-backed Houthis have attacked Israel and vessels in the Red Sea in what they call acts of solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. And Israel will reportedly slow or stop humanitarian aid into northern Gaza soon, according to an official who spoke with the Associated Press. The official says Israel plans to end airdrops over Gaza City in the coming days and reduce the arrival of aid trucks in the north in preparation of moving residents south. Israel declared Gaza City a combat zone on Friday, alleging that there was a network of tunnels and a Hamas stronghold in the region. It remains unclear when the aid pause would start and airdrops would end. There have been no aid drops in the past several days in that region. And the U.S. is doubling down on a move to bar the president of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, from attending the September session of the United Nations General Assembly. Abbas urged the U.S. government today to reverse the decision on his visa just weeks before the meeting. The U.S. says Abbas will not be allowed to travel to New York next month for the meeting, where Canada and several other U.S. allies are set to recognize Palestine as a state. The decision involves revoking visas for members of the Palestinian Liberation Organization and the Palestinian Authority. The UN says it will be discussing this decision with the U.S. State Department. At least one person is dead and 28 others are injured in southern Ukraine after Russia launched a massive overnight attack on 14 regions. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia used more than 500 drones and 45 missiles. Officials say the attack cut power to 25,000 residents. This strike comes 2 days after a rare airstrike on central Kyiv that killed at least 23 people. The European Union diplomatic offices were also damaged. Meanwhile, Ukraine says strikes on Russian oil refineries continued overnight, with 2 facilities hit near occupied Crimea. Well, back at home, the Canadian International Air Show took flight in Toronto today, dazzling spectators, but one aircraft was receiving far more attention: the F-35 fighter jets. Canada has plans to purchase dozens of them, with Canadian pilots being trained to use them as early as next year. But much of it hinges on Canada's tumultuous relationship with our neighbours to the south. CTV's Kamal Karmali breaks it all down for us.
Here at the Canadian International Air Show in Toronto, plenty of planes and pilots for its 76th year. And although this year's theme is Canadiana, given the trade tensions with the United States, almost every pilot is from Canada. A lot of focus is on these, though. The F-35 fighter jet. Canada had put in an order to buy 88 of them from the United States to replace its aging CF-18 fleet, with the contract finalized just about 3 years ago. But amid the trade war with the U.S., Prime Minister Mark Carney kicked off a defense review earlier this year to assess the F-35 commitment and potentially explore alternatives. But a recent report by the Office of the Auditor General of Canada recommended sticking with the F-35 purchase, and Canada has already financially committed to the first 16 aircrafts. Here at the air show in Toronto, they are fully expecting Canadian pilots to be trained and ready to fly the F-35s at the event.
The first Canadian F-35 will be delivered in early 2026. I know that there's a lot of training happening right now. They're going to be based out of the U.S. right now, but painted with Canadian colors.
The Department of National Defence told CTV News it expects the review to be finalized by the end of this summer. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
In Nova Scotia, the Long Lake wildfire has scorched more than 80 kilometers of land, 80 square kilometers of land, that is, leaving smoke hanging over large portions of that province. That has sparked a number of air quality alerts, with health officials urging people to do their best to avoid breathing in that smoky air. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more.
20 homes destroyed, more than 500 properties evacuated, a state of emergency still in place. The Long Lake wildfire has been burning for more than 2 weeks.
To be honest, there's no point worrying about it because you can't change it, can you? The only people that can change it are the firemen.
As the massive fire rips through dense Nova Scotia forest, a heavy cloud of thick smoke has made life unpleasant for people who live here.
It usually hits one direction a little bit worse than another, so we go where it isn't.
The province has dealt with numerous air quality alerts. The toxic smoke is dangerous, especially for seniors with pre-existing health problems.
I spent years as CEO of the Lung Association, so I understand that seniors in this area have among the highest amounts of COPD in the country.
Poor air quality can also cause long-term lung damage, regardless of age.
Stay home, stay indoors, close the windows, turn on the air conditioning so that it'll filter the outside air, and stay safe because it is not good for you to be breathing in bad air like that.
For people who live in Nova Scotia's Annapolis County and in other parts of the province, staying indoors is a challenge because they have work and other daily activities as this massive wildfire continues to burn.
We don't always fully appreciate how susceptible we are to natural disasters.
Many Nova Scotians are worried about their homes being destroyed and breathing in dangerous fumes as the Long Lake wildfire continues to burn out of control. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Quebec wants to ban public prayer, and reaction to that has been fast and furious. The province says it's about promoting a secular society, but the Muslim community says that it's being targeted. Others say it's just more politics. CTV's Sweeta Rassi reports.
According to the CAQ government, prayers held in public has become a sensitive and serious issue, especially in Montreal. That's why the province is planning to ban public prayers. But for the head of the National Council of Canadian Muslims, there's an obvious target.
Oh, the target is absolutely the Muslim community, because the exact same thing is happening with other communities, but they don't talk about it.
In December, the CAQ expressed unease with people praying in public. Stephen Brown says when it comes to pro-Palestinian demonstrators, organizers have permits to allow them to use the space.
What are we going to start doing in Quebec? Mandating that you get your messaging approved by the government before you're given a permit to go protest?
This comes in the wake of an independent committee that provided 50 recommendations to the Quebec government on how to strengthen secularism. And while the report stopped short of recommending a provincial ban on public prayers, it did say it should be up to the municipalities to decide. Côte St. Luc Mayor Mitchell Brownstein applauds the move.
Municipalities know their communities best, and we certainly would not allow it to happen blocking a street or in other situations. It has to be reasonable. You can't block a complete street and stop life.
However, Brown believes the ban is merely a political move.
This is a government that is looking for a win a year out from an election in order to boost its poll numbers.
Political analyst Tom Mulcair agrees.
It's also
a reflection of the fact that the CAC government is in deep trouble, and any port in a storm. They know that this is something that they can ride with a good part of their base, and they'll hope to try to get their voters back.
In a statement to CTV News, Secularism Minister Jean-François Roberge said, "The Premier of Quebec has given me the mandate to strengthen secularism, and I am determined to fulfill that mandate diligently." Roberge says, come fall, he will officially introduce a bill to ban public prayers. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
Like transportation shouldn't be a trouble for us.
A highway breakdown turned nightmare. CAA facing questions about how it deals with calls from people with disabilities. We'll have that story after the break.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, CTV Morning Live, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Well, you can see there a look at the Byward Market, and the sun has come out. It's still relatively cool compared to what we've become accustomed to. Let's take a first look at some scenes around Ottawa today. Beautiful conditions. Bit of an empty field there. Not a lot of playing going on. Oh, there's the plan. People outside enjoying the temperatures. Definitely nice to get some physical activity when the conditions are like this. Take the dog for the walk, socialize with some buddies. That's what we like to see. And it's going to be getting back to those real hot and sweaty conditions in short order. The satellite radar can see a little bit of cloud coverage over our region and some showers early this morning, but that has since dissipated. Right now, it's 13 degrees out on the East Coast in St. John's, 20 in Charlottetown, 16 degrees currently in Halifax. I mentioned us sitting at around 18. Very comfortable conditions for this time of year, just 1 degree below the average for August 30th. Hard to believe. September's already knocking on the door. 20 degrees in Toronto, 21 in Windsor. It's hot out in the prairies. 30 degrees in Winnipeg, 31 in Regina, and 30 in Edmonton. So they're dealing with a last gasp of summer, and we have one of those just on the horizon, 20 degrees with a little bit of showers in the forecast for Vancouver. Getting down to 8 degrees tonight, and then a real temperature swing by tomorrow afternoon. Mainly sunny conditions and a high of 26. Similar story in the Ottawa Valley, but -1. So we're looking at 7 degrees for the low this evening, 25 for the high for tomorrow evening. And then a chance of showers along the Seaway with a low of 9 tonight. Beautiful sunny conditions and a high of 25 degrees for tomorrow. And as we take a quick look at the 7-day, you can see what I mean. Getting back up to 26 degrees for not only tomorrow, but also Monday, Tuesday, and then 27 on Wednesday. So some more hot above seasonal days in the forecast. I know a lot of people that'll be happy to see that. Well, CAA is facing questions about how it handles roadside calls from people with disabilities. A Montreal man says his recent experience on an Ontario highway shows the procedure is not working. CTV's Laurence Brisson-Dubroy reports.
Frédéric McNamara says a highway breakdown turned into a nightmare. Hours stranded, no empathy, and no clear answers. Now he wants change.
We're not third-class citizens, and like transportation shouldn't be a trouble for us.
McNamara has muscular dystrophy. He doesn't drive, and as a passenger, he needs an adapted vehicle to travel. When he and his dad were on an Ontario highway, a tire blew out. As a CAA member, McNamara expected help.
It was 30 degrees. I was dehydrated. We're basically in the middle of nowhere.
A tow truck came. Normally, CAA members ride in the car with the driver, but without the appropriate mechanism in place, McNamara had no way to get inside safely. So he waited on the side of the road. Not only was the situation diminishing and frustrating, McNamara also felt unsafe.
On the side of probably the most dangerous highway in Canada.
That lasted 3 hours. CAA South Central Ontario told CTV News procedures were followed, an adapted taxi service was requested, and provincial police were called. A spokesperson adds that, under Ontario law, vehicles cannot be towed with passengers inside, including those with accessibility requirements. and that their team focused on finding safe and appropriate transportation. The tow truck driver stayed with McNamara until a cab arrived. For a Montreal disability advocacy group, the situation exposes a lack of consideration at CAA.
There needs to be more coordination, more collaboration between CAA, police corps all over, and now that it's happened, it needs to be addressed.
He calls on CAA to formally apologize and to make sure this doesn't happen again. McNamara says traveling is hard enough as is.
Public transit or airline companies, so there needs to be a major change in accessibility.
And he says until that happens, people with disabilities will keep paying the price. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
So the bear bit me on the backside, and then I dropped to the ground and rolled into the fetal position.
Terrifying bear attack in northern Ontario. 2 women in Sault Ste. Marie are lucky to be alive. We'll share their story after the break.
On Sunday, October 5th, CHEO's RBC Race for the Kids will support the largest redevelopment campaign in CHEO's 50-year history. Join CTV and Move 100 and register now for the 5K or 10K timed all-terrain routes or the 2K accessible family fun run at Wesley Clover Parks. Whether you run, walk, or cheer participants on, there will be something for everyone with music, food, and activities to enjoy. Register now for CHEO's RBC Race for the Kids and help support pediatric health care in our community.
Well, in case you missed it this week, new beginnings for some baby snapping turtles at Carleton University. 32 of them released into their new home after being hatched at the university's biology unit. CTV's Camille Wilson was there to catch the moment.
Good job, little buddy. These snapping turtle hatchlings heading into their new habitat.
I've been really excited about all of the turtle work going on here and keeping track of what's going on and all of the amazing research happening.
Allison Oakes among many who came to Carleton University to witness their release into the Rideau River.
Would have made her way across the volleyball court.
In June, a nest was discovered behind one of the buildings on campus.
You can see the egg tooth on the tip of their nose.
Researcher Charlotte Galloway called in to salvage the eggs.
I've been holding on to these eggs for the summer, and 65 days later, we have some sweet little babies that arrived.
53 eggs were incubated at 28 to 29 degrees Celsius. 32 have hatched so far.
The female came from the Rideau River, which is located here on campus in the south section, and they're going back to the same body of water that the nest was closest to.
Snapping turtles are considered special concern species, which means they are vulnerable and require monitoring to prevent them from becoming endangered species.
Turtles are kind of struggling right now, so it's important that we do what we can to help them. So I encourage anybody who has a little soft spot for turtles to find out more about local organizations and how they can help with nesting and salvage and any kind of community work they can to help with the turtles.
This event, a rare chance to witness.
We just like to show support and engage in the community and draw attention to the endangered species and climate change and things like that.
I've never worked with the babies or the eggs, so this was a really cool experience.
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
2 women in Sault Ste. Marie are lucky to be alive after they were attacked by a bear. CTV's Corey Nordstrom has that story, and we want to warn you that some of the images you're about to see may be disturbing to some viewers.
Friends Crystal McDonald and Aja Wilson, along with their dogs Mia and Rosebud, feel they're lucky to be alive today after a terrifying incident a few days ago. Wednesday afternoon, the pair came to the end of People's Road to walk their dogs on a popular trail. Just a few minutes into the rainy hike, they came face to face with a mother bear and her cubs.
I turned to run, but realized very quickly that's not the correct thing to do. So the bear bit me on the backside, and then I dropped to the ground and rolled into the fetal position, and the bear was on top of me.
Frantically yelling and waving her arms, McDonald was able to get the bear's attention.
It started galloping towards me with her mouth open, and then she stood up on her back legs, went to pounce on me, and as she did that, I fell downward. I hit my head and landed on my wrist, and she got a hold of my arm, and she was there with my arm in her mouth.
I'm just so grateful for my friend also, who was so brave, because that bear really didn't have to get off of me, and it could have been a lot worse than it was.
McDonald's dog Mia eventually led the bear away and found her way home hours later on her own with minor injuries. McDonald suffered 2 broken bones in her arm and some bruising elsewhere. Wilson had multiple bite wounds and lacerations from the bear's claws. Rosebud came away without physical injuries. The pair still remain that the bear was not at fault and were happy to be told the MNR wasn't pursuing lethal force if they locate the bear.
It's just happened that we walked into her space and she reacted with her motherly instinct to protect her cubs.
Bear expert Mike McIntosh, who runs the Bear With Us Center for Bears, explains that black bear attacks are very rare, though cubs being involved and having dogs off leash considerably increases those odds.
Over 50% of those attacks involved off-leash dogs. Basically, a dog on leash is an excellent deterrent. The bear will smell the dog, hear the commotion, smell the people as well, and leave the area.
McIntosh adds that observing your environment for things like bear scat or nearby berry bushes is also important to lessen your likelihood of a run-in with a bear. McDonald and Wilson say they'll be taking a hiatus from their wooded hikes, but hope their bear encounter leads others to learn more about bear safety. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Layla Fernandez in action in doubles today alongside Venus Williams. We'll tell you how she did after the break.
Ottawa is always on the move.
We're a big city
with a laid-back vibe.
Where foodies love their sweets.
And markets bursting with flavor.
Wrapped up in waterways.
And hot summer days.
This is a city where culture is on display.
And the future
meets the past.
Where people come together.
Always proud.
Often loud. Whee!
And positively the best place to live.
We move with you, Ottawa!
In tonight's big picture, some swimmers got together in Copenhagen for the annual night swim around the city's waterways. The nighttime event was part of the Copenhagen Swim Series. It's a collection of recreational and competitive events that takes place over 2 days every year in the city's harbor. And we want to share some details on some of the other stories you need to know right now. And to do this, we wanted to bring in CTV's Natalie Van Roy. Natalie.
Thanks, Austin. Well, Atletico Ottawa is back on the pitch tonight for a match against Vancouver FC.
By Montgomery, deflects to Rodriguez, a bounce, and it goes in.
Well, Vancouver is currently dead last in the Canadian Premier League. Ottawa is in second place. Tonight's match starts at 7 p.m. The team was last on the field at home on August 23rd when playing the Calgary FC. That final score, a 2-2 draw for Calgary and Ottawa.
Venus Williams and Layla Fernandez are not done with the U.S. Open this year just yet. Another
Layla Fernandez was in action in doubles today alongside Venus Williams. The pair joined forces at the last minute after Fernandez's original partner dropped out just before the tournament. They won today's second round match in straight sets. And if you are driving, you'll likely see more police cruisers out on the road than usual. OPP is stepping up enforcement right across the province this weekend. Police are reminding drivers to slow down, noting speeding is the top factor in fatal crashes in Eastern Ontario this year. And last year, OPP issued more than 1,600 tickets to drivers on Eastern Ontario roads over the Labor Day weekend. And here's a look at what will be open and closed in Ottawa on Labor Day Monday. OC Transpo will run on a Sunday schedule. There'll be no garbage or recycling collection. It will be delayed by 1 day next week. City service centers and libraries will be closed. The Rideau Centre and Tanger outlets will be open. All other malls will be closed. Businesses in the Glebe, Byward Market, and Lansdowne will be allowed to open, and most grocery stores will be closed, and museums will be open. And thanks to the recent rainfall, there is no longer a burn ban in place here in Ottawa. According to Environment Canada, the city received nearly 35 millimeters of rain yesterday. That's the highest rainfall total in a single day in months. Now, the fire bans have now been lifted in Ottawa, Pembroke, Petawawa, and Brockville. But it is important to note you still have to have the relevant permits to have an open-air fire. Austin.
Yeah, no, and it's pretty wild when you see that kind of a rainfall, that kind of a rain event saturating the soil.
It was not, it wouldn't stop
No, I know, and kind of disappointing for anyone that was at the Hot Air Balloon Festival as well with Flow Rida playing, but...
I know, you couldn't put the balloons up in the air.
There you go, but now you can burn away, as long as you have a permit.
I wanted to save a life.
You wanted to save a life?
Mm-hmm.
Coming up, a young BC boy's philanthropic thirst-quenching dream with the goal of, you heard it, saving lives. Here's a live look now through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It's currently 18 degrees.
Tonight, a new trade war twist.
People don't know how to do business. This just simply exacerbates that uncertainty.
How Canadian businesses are scrambling with many U.S. tariffs now declared illegal. Later on CTV National News.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top local stories we're following right now. The teardown continues. Police are investigating after a shooting in Lansdowne Park forces the cancellation of the inaugural YOWFest. Taking a big step, university students settling into their new homes ahead of another school year.
We thought a fun little activity would be to bring him to the apple orchard for his first time.
And as summer winds down, apple picking picks up. This year, we take a look at the conditions and the prices after a few dry, rain-free stretches so far this summer. I'm going to take a last look at the weather forecast and a bit of a warm-up on the way as well. So, I don't know, is that good news for the apples or bad? I guess it's good if you have irrigation. Waking up to 11 degrees, mostly sunny conditions, a daytime high of 26 degrees, stretching until Wednesday, when we'll hit a high of 27, back down to 20 on Thursday. Mix of sun and cloud throughout the week, though. Pretty nice for summer conditions as things start to wind down. Time now to check in with our news team to see what they'll be working on for tonight. Natalie Van Roy is here.
Thanks, Austin. Well, it's going to be a busy night downtown. For the last long weekend of summer, we will be following breaking news closely, and also be sure to be safe if you are heading out on the roads. Also ahead tonight, another fun night in store at the Gatineau Hot Air Balloon Festival. There's more artists set to take the stage for live music, including Jay Scott. And the festival wraps up on Sunday night with a performance by Alessia Cara. Get the news anytime, anywhere at ctvnewsottawa.ca, and join me tonight for CTV News at 11:30.
Thanks, Natalie. Looking forward to that. And finally for us tonight, this one's heartfelt. There's a young man out on the West Coast. He's inspiring his community, and he's really helping them out quench their thirst as well along the way. CTV's Adam Sawatsky has his story.
After months of asking his mom,
"Can I have a lemonade stand?"
and her saying just wait till after winter,
"It's too cold outside."
Anders Yee finally got the go-ahead to set up his stand.
If you're making peach lemonade, you also add cranberry juice.
But rather than expressing some sort of entrepreneurial spirit,
he goes, "I want to raise money for charity."
The 8-year-old was wanting some way to give back.
Because I want to help other people.
Susanna Yee says her son has benefited from the Canucks Autism Network because he's on the spectrum, and the Victoria Hospitals Foundation because he spent 35 days in the NICU.
There's not enough money to give back.
Which is why, after donating $21 from his stand over spring break, Anders asked his mom if he could raise even more this summer.
I wanted to save a life.
You wanted to save a life?
Mm-hmm.
You see, this week marks a year since Anders witnessed the loss of his dad's life from a brain aneurysm.
I thought doing a stand in memory of his dad is a way of the healing process.
Susanna says Kevin was always giving to others, and supporting their boy's inherent desire to be generous is a way of keeping that legacy alive.
We all go through a grieving period, but at the same time, you've got to continue to live.
So the little boy set a big goal of $100.
Wow. Very unexpected.
Before raising more than 1,000.
I'm very impressed about what happened.
But then, after his story was broadcast across the country, viewers were inspired to donate 1,000 more. And just last week, another 1,000, bringing Anders' total to more than $3,200.
I'm feeling proud. I saved a lot of lives.
Which is why Anders is now planning to sell lemonade in honor of his dad every year.
I know my husband is looking down and he's smiling down on us and saying, good job.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Saanich.
What a beautiful story. That was a tearjerker.
I was going to say, that one got me going. Adam hit it out of the park there. What an impressive young man. And the mom as well for supporting him along the way.
100%.
Absolutely love to see it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night.